This is a video on how to send direct mail step by step. There's two main parts to sending direct mail. The first part is going to be pulling your list. So as you can see here, I have three different types of list sources that we currently use to pull our lists: Exact Data, Listability, and ListSource. Our top performing list so far has been the Exact Data vacant list. And here you can see the criteria that we used: single family home, vacant, privately owned, free and clear, and then different billing addresses than the property address, which means absentee owner. So that is our top performing list. If you have not sent any direct mail, I suggest you starting with this list. If you have and you have not tried this list, make sure you do. Listability and ListSource are two other really good options to pull lists if you've already done the Exact Data list and you're looking for something new. So today for this video, I'm going to actually show you how to pull an Exact Data vacant list, and it's really, really easy. Pretty much you don't have to do anything other than send a quick email to info@exactdata.com. You can also go to their website, exactdata.com, and do everything yourself after signing up for an account. But if you don't want to do that, it's really easy. Just send a quick email. For example, I did a few screenshots of emails that I've sent where we have actually requested lists by email. So here you can see I just sent an email with the zip codes and the criteria that I was looking for. And then below, she responded right back and told me how many contacts were available and then the price. I went ahead and gave her approval for this list. And what happens next after you say you want to move forward is they'll go ahead and send you an invoice by email. You click the link, make your payment, and you will get an email just like this telling you your list is ready. You have two options. You can either download the list, which they will send you a link and it will bring you to your online account where you can just download it from there. But they will also email you the list, and you can request them to email you the list if it makes it a little bit easier for you. They are really easy to work with, quick email back and forth, and you have your list. Sometimes after you make your payment and request the list, it will take a day or two to actually process and your list be ready for download. So just make sure that you're aware of that. Okay, so going back, once you have your Exact Data vacant list, the next part is actually creating the mail piece and then sending the postcard. And as you can see here, I've attached our third notice postcard, which is by far our top performer. So if you have not sent this yet, I highly suggest that you use this postcard for your next mailing. And where do you mail this from? So, okay, we have the postcard that we want to mail, so you're going to go online, and here is the web address. So impactorder.com/index_gobig.html. Go to this website and log in. If you do not already have an account, you can call this number 760-208-8429 and they can get you set up. Okay, so after you log in, it's going to bring you to a dashboard, and from here you're going to want to upload your list. I would do that as step one to make it a little bit easier once you get to the part where you're actually putting your direct mail piece together. So if you go to contacts, you're going to want to click upload my list. And I want you to be aware that this list has to be in CSV file. So here is a list that I have, and it is just basic Excel list. Okay, so we do have it CSV, but for example, if it was not in that format, you can click File, Save As, click File Format, and then just save it as a CSV file. Okay, and then if there's multiple sheets, like we have some names that we removed because we don't want to continue to mail to those people, it will tell you it cannot save it as a different format with multiple sheets. So just go ahead and save your file, maybe make a copy, and then delete the multiple sheets on the copy, and then just do exactly what I showed you. Okay. Now once you've done that, you're going to want to name your list. And I usually just use the source and the type, so Exact Data vacant list. Click Choose File, and here is my CSV file, and then click Upload. And from here, it's going to have you go ahead and fill in the mailing label variables. And we want to do, okay, so So here you can see the heading is 2 steps below. So we're going to want to resave this with the heading at the very top so that it recognizes it. And we'll just go back and re-upload the list. So if you run into that problem, that's what that is. Now we can see the owner's first name, the owner's last name, the owner's mailing address, the mail city, mail state, and this is actually going to be your mailing, when you do your postcard, this is where it's going to be going. So you want to make sure that it's going to the mailing address and not the site address. Okay, and all of those look correct, so we're going to click continue. And then it's going to take a few minutes after we click continue for it to actually start uploading, and it'll keep you updated. So after it uploads, it'll give you a little box saying that your list is uploading. So there was a little bit of an error there, but as you can see, it's now double uploading, but we want it to upload, so that's good. As it's uploading, you can go home and then start working on your postcard. So you can browse your products, and I'll show you where to find that third notice postcard. It's going to be under the mini postcards, or here we actually have it on the main page. So you can see that here. And if you can't find it, you can also call or just search the number 41815 for this product. When you find it, you want to click order, and then it's going to have you fill in the information here that's going to appear on your postcard. And you can customize things as well. So here we have Matt's name, and then the phone number does change depending on what mailing list we use, so that we can keep track of how well each card and each list are doing. We have a separate campaign for each card and list together. So here is going to be the number for our third notice postcard plus the exact data vacant list, but let's say we wanted to send third notice postcard and listability list. I'm going to have a totally different phone number, so when those people call in, I know exactly what campaign that it came from. So I hope that makes sense. Here, you're going to want to fill in whatever address that you want any return postcards to go to. Okay, so once you've filled that in, that'll be your return address. Here you don't really have to do much, and I don't really suggest doing much. You can customize it, add your own wording, but we send it as it's written, and it gets a lot of responses. So I suggest leaving it as is. Maybe if you see any errors, you can fix those, but other than that, I would leave it alone. And then name your order. So here I would just, again, exact data plus third notice. It's really just for you, so you can go back and reference that later. And then you can click continue, and it's going to take you to select a list. So here is where, when you click that button, it'll tell you now your list is still uploading. So it's going to take a minute for your list to upload depending on how many names that you have. So we'll let that continue to upload, but for video purposes, so that we can continue on, I'll just show you using a list that I already have. So once that's done, you'll be able to find that here, but again, I'm just going to use a list that we have already uploaded so we can move forward. Select your list and click continue. Here it's going to have you select the variables again, but this time it's going to be for the site address information. So here we're going to put the owner's first name, last name, and then here's site address. So property address, property city, and then state and zip code. And then you can go up here and make sure everything is accurate. This is where it's going to be mailed, and click continue. Okay, so now what we want to do is, if, for example, you might have another list that you want to send at the same time. That's my VA, so let's see, you would just add or replace the list here. We're just going to send to the one list for now. So I want to continue to proof. And this is where we're going to actually see the proof of our work before we send it to make sure everything looks good. And it takes a minute sometimes. And you can scroll down and see here. A lot of the time what I like to do is just view large PDF proof. And then it's going to allow you to save it to your computer too, you know, in case you need to send it anywhere if you want to see a bigger picture of it. So here we have third notice. This is all of the information that we just leave as is. Our return information here, and then who and where we are mailing it to. And as you scroll down, you can see that we are inquiring about this address here. So all of the information looks good. We have the phone number. Make sure you double and triple check your phone number. I always call my phone numbers before I actually send the direct mail piece to make sure that it's a working number, it's going to our call center, everything is good, because you don't want to send out a bunch of direct mail and find out that you put the wrong phone number on there. So if everything looks good, you want to approve and check out, and then it's going to ask you again to approve and check out. Okay, and then here it just basically tells you when it's scheduled to go into production, which means they're going to actually create your product for you. It usually takes a few days to do that, and then they will put it out for mailing, you know, at the post office. So if you scroll down, it's going to explain all of the information and how long that it will take depending on what you select. So here you can just choose, this is what our default is, or you can choose a real stamp. So depending on what you choose is how fast it's going to get there and how much money you're going to spend. And if you wanted to mail it on your own, you would just select I will mail my pieces, but we really like the hands-off experience and they take care of everything for us, so we do not do that. And we don't track our mail either. So after you're done making your selections, click continue, and it's going to break down the charges, so it's going to tell you how many pieces you're mailing out and how much it's going to cost to actually mail those out. If everything looks good, click continue. And I'm not going to go any further after I show you, so we'll go one page further, but basically you want to put your email here so that you get all of the notifications once your mail pieces have been sent out, all your receipts, everything. It's going to bring this window up, and you're going to click that you acknowledge all of this information, approve, and then it's going to bring you to the page to pay. So as you can see here, it's going to be your summary and then ask for your payment. So here is where you'll put in your card number. And if you'd rather not do that, you can also give them a call and they can take your payment over the phone. But if you want to pay here, you put in your card information and click approve. And I'm not going to do that right now because we don't actually want to send this, but that's what you would do. And then it would change this page to a confirmation page that your mail has been sent. And you will get an email in a few days letting you know that it's actually been sent to the post office and mailed out. Now let's go back to our how-to here. We have our list. We sent our third notice postcard. Now what's next? Here I've kind of broken it down a little bit. How many postcards to mail out? If you're just starting, we suggest starting with about 500 postcards. And you can do that per week, or you can wait. You can, start with one batch of 500, see how that does until you, decide to mail out again. 500 a week is usually pretty good depending on how you have your system set up. So start with 500, see how many calls you get. You may need to send more. If you're the one handling the calls and the lead sheets, you might want to, stick with 500, work the leads you have before sending any more direct mail. You just have to play it by ear. If you have a call center, it does make it a little bit easier the more direct mail pieces you start sending out. What to do after the first mailing. So again, calls are going to be coming into the number you put on that postcard, and you can take the calls yourself. If you're just starting out, that might be the best thing so that you can save some money and kind of see how many calls that you're getting from your list. Or if you have a call center, they can take the calls for you and fill out the lead sheets and send those to you by email. Or we use Podio, and they just directly go into our Podio system. Okay, now once you start getting those leads and filling out the lead sheets, you're going to want to screen those because not every lead is going to be a workable lead, and you don't want to waste any time on those that don't have any equity or that the seller is not motivated. So screen those just by the motivating factors that we teach, why they're selling, their asking price, and if they still owe on their mortgage. Any of the leads that make it through that first screening process, you're going to want to call back. And then to pursue it further, you're always going to want to set up a walkthrough appointment so that you can check out the condition of the home, get the photos, and negotiate the contract price, and have them actually sign the contract while you're there if possible. How many times should you mail to the individual people? So we like to exhaust our lists. We mail to the same list multiple times just to capture as many of those leads as possible. And it usually does take a few times of the seller getting those postcards to call you back. You'll notice a big influx of calls when you first send out the leads, the direct mail leads, but then it dies down a little bit. You hit that list again, and you'll notice that you are still getting calls, usually from different people. So we suggest sending to the list about 6 times before moving on to your new list. Now, what do you do when you exhaust your mail list? So if you've sent it all 6 times, you're going to want to buy a new list and repeat the process. You can always request the same list through Exact Data. It does change, they have it updated. Or you can move on to ListSource, Listability, try new lists, and repeat the same process. So I hope that helps. That was step by step how to get your mailing list and how to send out the direct mail pieces.